Just picked up an extremely rare find. This bike is in nearly perfect condition for the year. Insanely clean. This is a 1994 Yamaha XT250. I mean, you guys gotta check this thing out. It almost looks like it's showroom condition. I can't find a single flaw with it. I mean, this is all original. Never been restored. So the seller that sold it to me was an older farmer. He said his wife used to drive this around the fields. She put on about, let's see, 6,456 miles on this bad boy when they bought it new in '94. He said he was riding it around the field one day, it shut off and wouldn't fire back up. So this thing's been sitting for a couple of years. He decided to finally post it. I offered $600. He said come grab it. So this one comes with a clean title, it's street legal, and it is immaculate. Look how clean that engine is. All the plastics are intact. The seat is nearly perfect. The only flaw I see is the cracked blinker right there. Otherwise, look at that. I mean, come on. The gauges are perfect. Gas tank is nearly perfect. Even the boots are perfect. Tires are nice. Frame is almost perfect. Just a little bit of wear there and here. But I mean, that's just from a boot. So today's goal is going to be to figure out what's going on with this thing and hopefully to get it up, running, and driving by the end of the video. But I cannot wait to start working on this bike. When I saw it, I was like, I have to have that thing. Yeah, cleanest bike I've seen in a while. So let's get this thing off the trailer, take a closer look at it, start digging into it, and hopefully we can get this thing to fire up today. Alright, we gotta get a walk around to this bike. What a beauty of a bike. The color scheme is really cool too. I mean, it's ugly, but it's cool. Very retro. Wonder if there's a toolkit in here. We gotta check that out. Oh yeah, look at that. I think there's a toolkit in there. We'll check that out a little bit later. And the farmer did say the seat caught on fire right here. He was trying to spray starting fluid in there, and the whole airbox caught on fire and came up to the seat and just wrecked that little piece right there. But really, that's the only flaw. Crazy good condition. I haven't looked in the tank either. We'll have to see what that looks like. But I basically saw this thing, and I was like, that is super clean, so we have to buy it. And for $600, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Alright, we got this bike in the garage. Let's start taking a look at it. First thing we're going to do is check out the gas tank. See what that looks like. Hoping it's not all rusty in here. That looks perfect. Look at that. I don't think there's a single speck of rust on that gas tank. Wow. That is amazing. So gas tank is definitely clean. Alright, next we'll check out the oil. Looks like there is a little window right here. Let's see if that's topped off. Oil is up to the top line. That looks good. But we'll take a look and see what the oil looks like. See if it's black. Dipstick. perfectly clear. That looks like brand new oil. Alright, that's good. Get the side cover off here first. Held on by one bolt, it looks like. Alright, there's the battery. Maybe we don't have to take the seat off. I don't know, is the air filter underneath the seat? Not sure. But the battery, we'll test that out. Here is the positive for the battery. That goes to there. Here's the negative going to there. Solenoid is intact. That looks good. And then we've got our CDI. And it looks like there's a fuse right here. Quick check and see if that fuse is good. Open right up. Yeah, the fuse looks good. Doesn't look broken. I'm gonna put that right back. That rubber piece just holds that fuse into place. It doesn't come undone. Alright, we'll check the battery here quick since we're over here. So this was disconnected when I bought it. Let's see what we get for voltage. Maybe it drains the battery, having it plugged in. 12.8 volts. Why was that not hooked up? So battery should be good. Kind of interesting. But the seat can come off right here. That bolt's kind of just barely on there. So somebody was working on this thing. Let's go over to the other side. Same thing, one bolt here. Pulls off like that. All right, and then there's the air box. And there's a bolt for the seat right here. That was off of there. See what the air box looks like. So it's been sitting for a couple of years, so could be some mice in here. Let's see. No, that looks pretty clean. That looks really clean. Not really seeing where the rest of the air filter is. It just looks like a red pad in there. Kinda in there. Okay. So that just usually slides right here. The cage is stuck in there. So this would usually be, I think, part of the cage, unless this just slides in there like that. I'm not sure how that works. That was like one unit, the cage and the filter, and then it slides into here and then it's locked into place. It smells heavily of gas. But yeah, we're just gonna shove that back in there for now. Deal with that a little bit later. But that looks good. It's not all full of mice poop or anything, so. All right, seat can come off now. It's like almost perfect. You can see that's where it got started on fire there for a second. So the seller said that he tried spraying starting fluid in there and the whole airbox started on fire. That almost sounds like it's shooting flames out the carb, which would be either timing or like a valve issue. But we'll see when we hook up the battery and pump this thing over. I want to first see if we're getting gas out of the gas tank before we hook up a battery to this thing. All right, here's the petcock. It's kind of broken on there, so it needs a new petcock piece. There's a little screw in there too. Turn this on and off. Yeah, somebody must have cracked that at one point. Put that off to the side. Off the line going to the carb. Whoa, it's pouring out. Oops. So gas must have been on. There's off. So it's definitely getting gas. Let's see which way is on. So with the screw going to the left is on. I think that's reserve. So screw up is off. Yeah, very good gas flow coming out of there. Let's see if there's any water in the gas. Looks pretty clear. Definitely looks like newer gas in there. Doesn't look like it's been sitting for a couple of years. I can tell you that. Huh. Alright, because this thing once started on fire, we're going to take a little caution. We're going to take off the gas tank. That's full of gas, so if this thing did start on fire, we'd never be able to get it out with the gas tank on there still. One little spark and that gas tank is going up in flames. So let's get that off first. That piece comes off there. There we go. All right, we have access to the carburetor, the head here, and the spark plug. Let's take a look at the plug. It looks like a D8EA NGK plug on there. Sounding pretty good. Could just be a bad plug. It looks pretty black. Looks like maybe it was running pretty rich. We're gonna leave the plug out for now, and we'll attempt to turn this thing over with the plug out of it. I don't want this thing starting on fire. But first thing we have to do is hook up the battery. Oh, this is missing the little nut on there. We'll get the negative hooked up here first. Alright, then we'll hook up the positive to here. And the little guy that goes in here. Now we can get your positive hooked up. Let's see if anything lights up here. Oh yeah. Neutral light, gauge lights work. Got the blinkers on for some reason. Headlights working. Cool. Blinkers. Both are working. Right side blinkers working. Tail lights working. Alright, that's awesome. Horn. That's working. High beam's working. Cool. Alright, and then the choke. That pulls up. Alright, where's the start button? Let's see if it cranks over here. Yeah, it turns over. Let's see if it has spark. It seems like it's turning over kind of slow to me. We'll see here. Alright, here we go. We've got spark. Looks pretty consistent too. Yeah, good spark. Alright, we're gonna do a compression test next before we attempt to fire this thing up. Let's see what we get. Curious to see what we get for compression. To me, just by hearing it turn over, it sounds kind of weak. But you never know, we'll see. Alright. We're looking for above 100, then this thing will probably start. I don't know if there's a decompression mechanism on here. I don't think there is. Alright, here we go. Throttle open. See what we get. Well, that sounds pretty good. Heard a little knocking though. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. But we're at 140. That is good compression. Nothing wrong with that. We're getting fuel. We're getting spark. And we're getting compression. This thing should fire up. Alright, before we even think about starting this thing up, let's go through the carb. Right now we know we have spark. We have good compression, sitting at like 140 psi. The seller said last time he tried to start this thing, the whole bike started on fire in the airbox area, and he could not get the fire to go out. So we're not going to make the same mistake. I'm thinking maybe the carburetor was flooding out a little bit and causing excess gas to pool in the airbox, or something backfired and it started on fire that way. I'm not sure, but I don't want to take the risk and have this whole bike go up in flames and have it wrecked because it starts on fire. So we'll take off the carb, go through it, doesn't hurt. You can see there's a plug off port here that looks like a vacuum line, or it was a vacuum line at one point. It comes off over here. Oh yeah, there looks like there's a breather hose that goes into the frame here. Interesting. Yeah, this is a CV carb. Came off pretty easily. Okay. You can see some fuel evaporating there. Alright, another breather line there. So we have to get the choke off here. And then the throttle cable here. Just loosen these guys up. Like that. Oh, lots of gas in there. It's poured out everywhere. Choke will come off. Make these chokes kind of hard to get to. Take these off here. That looks pretty good. But yeah, there's a bunch of gas in the carb. So carburetor was definitely getting gas. All right, let's see how much gas was in here. I think we can just take the little screw off here. Definitely some in there. Looks pretty clear. We're looking for any water droplets in there. There wasn't a whole lot in there. Put that back up. Alright, there's the gas. It's a little darker than what was in the gas tank, but I'm not seeing any water in the gas at all. Let's take a peek on the inside here. Alright, last screw coming out. That one was a little stripped out. Alright, let's take a peek. Oh, she's pretty clean. No ethanol gas in there. Float's working. Huh. Looks like we're running a 130 for the main. Let's get that out. And let's see if that's clear. Yeah, main jet's clear. Alright, let's take a look at the fuel screw here. So we're 1, 2, 2.5 turns on the fuel screw. Should be a spring in there. Get that spring out. There we go. That looks really good, nice and pointy at the tip there. Spring looks good. There's gonna be an O-ring, the washer down there too, and the washer. That looks good too. All right, now the pilot jet is down here. Let's see if we can get that out. I think we got her. There we go. Looks like a newer pilot. It's a 40. She was a little plugged up. Blow through that. That could be why it didn't start. That would be awesome. That was the only issue. Everything else looks pretty good. We're going to take out the float here. Might have to use our tool for that one. Try the other punch. Maybe that one's broken. There we go. That thing shot out. Holy cow. Look at this. That thing shot across the room. Well, we got that out. Take a look at the float and needle here. Looks brand new. Float looks good. So right down here, we can take that screw off and we can get to that O-ring. A lot of times that O-ring goes bad and gas seeps right by it. It's kind of what I'm thinking happened. Now you can just take a needle nose, pull this whole thing out. Yeah, that was not on there super tight. So we'll replace that O-ring. And the seat looks good. Little corrosion going on here. closer picture. I don't want to rip it. Getting this out. That looks good. So the spring holds that needle down. Let's see what the diaphragm looks like here. Doesn't look like any rips in the diaphragm. Well, it looks good. So that checks out. There's a little jet here we can blow through. That looks like a 60. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Should we take a peek underneath here? Alright. That looks good. You got like a little diaphragm here. We're just gonna take a little peek at it. That looks pretty good. Still really rubbery. Looks perfect. Alright, so carburetor checks out. The only thing I saw that was a little bit off was the pilot being partially clogged. So, it all checks out. So, we're going to clean this up, blow it out with compressed air, and get this thing back together and back onto the bike. Alright, we got the carb all back together. We can reinstall this back onto the bike. Everything checked out. We replaced that O-ring in there too. But before we put it back on the bike, we're just going to blow through all the lines here, make sure those are clear. Alright, before we put the carburetor back on, let's check the valves here. So I don't think we're going to have a tight valve, but because it was blowing back through the carb, typically that means that you have an open intake. So that means that the valve isn't closing all the way. Let's just check the valve clearances. It doesn't hurt. I just really don't want this thing starting on fire again. Alright, oh, there's oil getting to it. That's good. A little bit trickier to get to. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get to those. Oh man, that's on there. There we go. There we go. Alright, getting good oil to that one as well. Alright, these two caps have to come off. Take a look. Those look good. Got a little O-ring right here. Alright, now we're going to rotate this over until we see a T or a line. 17 millimeter. Take a flashlight look in here. I think it's, there's a bunch of letters. It's funny. found it. All right, so looking down here, you can see there's a line. Okay, there you go. You can see there's two lines with a line going through it. That's the first mark. You want to rotate the engine a little bit more, and we can go to the second mark. And that's the one you want to go to. So let's rotate this a little bit more. You can actually see there's two more lines. You want to go to the next first line. You can see right there and line it up with the arrow on the case. So we are perfectly lined up. And then you can check by going over to the spark plug hole and seeing if the piston is at the top of the cylinder. So, all right, looking down the spark plug hole here. All right, the piston's right at the top. You can also take a screwdriver, kind of feel in there, and you can feel the piston right at the top of the cylinder. So we know we're top dead center there. And then if you come over to the intake valve, you should be able to feel the clearance between the rocker and the valve. There should be a little bit of a gap. You can hear that. So at this point, the valve in the head is actually closed. Same with the exhaust. You can hear the clearance there between the valve and the rocker. And that means that that valve is completely closed at that point. So we can get the clearances and check those. So for the intake for this bike, it's going to be 2/1000ths to 4/1000ths of an inch. Exhaust is 4 to 6. Get our feeler gauge out. So we're going to check 3/1000ths for the intake. Make sure that goes in. You can see just rubbing at 3/1000ths. Feels perfect. And then the exhaust, we're going to check it at 5/1000ths of an inch. Let's see if that feels good. Yep, just rubbing. So valve clearances are perfect. Now that those are good, we check those. Let's quick check the timing. All right, this cover can come off. Oh man. And we should be able to see the cam sprocket underneath here. All right, impact screwdriver. Got that cracked loose. Now we're already at top dead center, so our line should be lined up perfectly. If you look in here, you can see the line here. It's lined up perfectly with that arrow. So our timing is spot on. See that? So timing and valves are perfect. Cam chain feels nice and tight too. So everything checks out. This thing should fire up. First, see what that feels like. See, there's still quite a bit of slack there. Well, carburetor's back on. Timing is perfect. Valves are within spec. So, without further ado, let's get the gas tank back on, everything back together, and attempt to fire this thing up. Hopefully this bike doesn't start on fire. That's the main goal. But it should fire up. We've got compression, spark, and now we're getting fuel to the carb. So we should be good here. All right, here we go. Gas on, choke on. Fired right up. What the heck? I don't hear any knocking. Sounds pretty good. Oh, slowing down a little bit. Pretty good to me. Idle's like a little sporadic, but getting cleared out pretty good. You can see some black smoke. I mean, it's running pretty good. A lot of black smoke though. Hoping that goes away. Yeah, I don't hear any knocking. Engine sounds really good. It doesn't smoke on idle. So I think it's just burning stuff off in the pipe. I'm guessing there was like a nest in there or something. You can see some of the stuff that came out, a bunch of carbon. Carburetor's not leaking. Yeah, everything appears to be working just fine. I don't get it. So it must have been that carb. Maybe that O-ring was shot on the seat, letting too much fuel in. But I mean, it's running pretty good. I really don't get it. Give it a couple more revs here. See if a bunch of black smoke comes out. burning off stuff in the pipe, because it only does it when you really give it full throttle. Well, that's not too bad. All this thing really took was a carb clean. She fired right up. Not bad at all. And it didn't start on fire. It's pretty good. Well, I'm pretty impressed. Not too bad for 600 bucks. I was really expecting this bike to need a lot of work. But we'll see if that smoking goes away. It might need a new piston in there. But, I mean, I think it's just burning off the exhaust. It's really dark smoke. But let's quick check the oil, see what that looks like, and then we'll attempt to take this thing for the first ride. I'm hoping it moves here. Alright, let's see if this bike moves. It's like 8 degrees out right now, Fahrenheit. So it's pretty cold. We'll see if she fires up in the cold here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Purring pretty good here. Alright, let's see if it moves. Hey Vin, what do you think of the bike, buddy? Come here. What do you think? It's running great. Not a single issue with this thing. We got really lucky on this one. I think Vinny likes it too. He's sniffing my... Hey, get out of there. Vin. What do you think, bud? Come here. Come here. He likes it. He likes chasing after it. Can you shake a paw? Shake a paw. Good doggy. What do you think of the bike, bud? Look at this thing. What do you think? What do you think? Yeah, that's a clean looking bike. It runs just as good as it looks. Well, first ride on the 1994 XT250 went awesome. I mean, not a single issue with this thing. Everything is working perfect. Rear brake is working, front brake works, suspension feels good, idles perfectly, starts instantly every time. Fires right up in the cold, runs great, doesn't smoke. This one is all good to go. And then oil didn't go down at all. Still at the top line. It's kind of tipped over right now, but you can see oil level's perfect. So we got really lucky on this bike. I thought for sure it was gonna need some major fixing, but all this one was a carb clean basically. So that doesn't happen too often. Man, oh man, what a nice looking bike. So you guys might have seen me wearing these hats here, like this. I finally got some merch made. It took a couple months, but I finally got what I wanted here. A good friend of mine owns a company in Oshkosh, and he made these up for me. And they're limited edition Vinny hats is what I'm calling them. As you can see, there's a picture of Vinny on there with some safety glasses, couple wrenches. You can see it says limited edition. So I made 400 of these hats. Once they're gone for good. I think the last time I did merch was like 5 or 6 years ago. So I don't do very often. And these are gonna be posted on my website. They're 28 bucks a piece, free shipping. So right now on the website, we've got the green and black two-toned hat. These are all adjustable. They should fit any size head. And then we've got the straight black, which I like wearing all the time. And those are for the limited edition Vinny hat. So if you want one of those, there's only 400 available, and shipping is only in the US as of right now. Once I figure out the international shipping, I'll update that. And then this is the other style hat. This is gonna be available in the same colors as that hat. This is just a prototype. These are like 2 to 3 weeks out, but that's the other logo. You can see 2 vintage with the motorcycle, and then established 2016. So that's the other style hat. I'll probably make a couple hundred of those as well. So if you want one of those, help support the channel, and I'll leave a link in the description. Well, hope you guys enjoyed the video on the 1994 Yamaha XT250. This one turned out to be a great bike, and it did not take too much work getting it to run and drive here. I was fully expecting it to need at least a top end, but we out pretty lucky on this one. So hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next video, and until next time, we are out.